Hey guys, it's Nemo and welcome to today's World of Warships video. And today we have the USS Des Moines. Now the Des Moines is one of my favorite ships in the entire game, definitely up in the top 5, possibly even in the top 3. I love this ship that much. It's an amazing ship, and in my opinion the best all-round cruiser in the game for various reasons. The Des Moines has a 5.2 second reload around. With her 203 or 8-inch guns, you can get that down to 4.5 seconds on the reload with main battery modules that we can have a look at a bit later, which means that her guns fire very fast for the size they are. Now I apologise for the chat spam here. One of our players, especially the Des Moines, the other Des Moines on our team, spams the chat quite a lot with profanity. But if you want to keep an eye on his gameplay throughout the game, go for it. I'm showing you how you should play the Des Moines, and his gameplay, he heads down towards C, is how you should not play the Des Moines. Anyway, the Des Moines has 27mm of bow armor. Actually, it's got 27mm of armor all the way around the ship, except for its Citadel armor belt, which means that you can tank up to 381mm or 15-inch guns. Anything above that, 16-inch and 18-inch guns, can punch you straight through the nose, which means that you are likely to be citadeled, or if it's high enough through the nose, it can hit the barbette and into the magazine and cause a detonation. How do I know that? Well, I've been detonated before through the nose by a Montana captain at 5 kilometers away who knew what he was doing. The good thing about World of Warships is that not too many people know what they are doing. Now, the Des Moines is the best island-hugging ambush cruiser. That's what she excels at. She has a 9.9 kilometer radar, which you can get out to 48 seconds with the radar boost duration. And in the next patch, 8.0.2, the radar will be going to 10 kilometers flat. She has super heavy armor piercing shells with her 8-inch guns that allow you to hit ships at improved angles, so anything that's a 60-degree angle or more you will definitely start penetrating, and possibly even hit citadels on if you hit lightly armored cruisers. Now, as you can see here, we're moving into a perfect position. In fact, on this map, this is Tears of the Desert, this is the best position for a Des Moines commander to take up. This is a lockdown position. You can lock down Cap quite easily. You can lock down your this little corner of the map here, and anyone that wants to go around you is going to have a bit of a hard time. The only thing is with this cap, as you can see, is my radar doesn't totally cover the cap. Now, because of the rapid firing 8-inch guns, that's what makes the Des Moines an extremely good ambush cruiser or a lockdown cruiser. So it's very good at defending its position. I do have a video, one of the earliest videos I make actually, so it's gameplay without commentary, but it's called Des Moines Locking Down Your Position, and it's exactly what it does. It's exactly the Des Moines style of gameplay. You just lock down a spot, get into a cap, and then it's extremely difficult for people to try and get you out of it. Now, as you can see here, I'm still spotted, and it didn't strike. At the time I was wondering why this bomber was just hanging overhead, but it's actually a very good technique I've seen from not many but a number of CV players. What they'll do is they'll hold their planes over the top of a cap, and as you can see, a cap is no longer contested, no longer ticking over, so it's contested now. So that tells me that the Jutland is there. And the reason that the enemy aircraft carrier players will hold their planes over a certain cap is that it scares away the other destroyers, the enemy destroyers. So our Yugumo gets in there and he pops his smoke, and that's what kept him alive. But the enemy CV was making sure that he wasn't going to come out, so that his destroyer would be able to get into the cap uncontested and unmolested. And then, knowing that the cap was not ticking over, and then I've popped the radar and I can't see, so I know where he is now. I know he's right on that corner of the cap there, so I just start backing up, and lucky for me, it's a good decision. That's one thing you have to be careful about as a lockdown cruiser like the Des Moines. If you play the Moskva the same way, because it's usually how you play the Moskva, you know, bow in, using yourself as a little tank, you have to be careful of torpedoes. They are your greatest threat. So lucky for me, I was aware that the enemy destroyer was in the cap and his position within the cap, and thanks to the radar, that sort of helped me out a little bit more. Now, the ship used to have a 10.6 kilometer detection, which was quite good. She now has a 10.9 thanks to the concealment nerf, the general concealment nerf to every ship. That's still pretty good. The way you play the Des Moines, you don't even need to run the concealment build if you don't want to, but I do because I like the concealment. It's a bit of a habitual thing as well. And a lot of times at these high tiers, you don't really get this nice island cover all the time. Now, if you have a look at our team down at sea, they have that cap. Now, what they should be doing is pushing towards the B cap. Unfortunately, they don't. And as you can see, there is our profanity chat spamming Des Moines down on the J9 box area. He should be up inside the islands there. His best position would be at F7. That would be great. It would be crossfires and able to lock down the C cap. So our Yugamo is now out of the cap. The Jutland is spotted, which is really handy, and we have a Musashi charging. Now, I'm just trying to jiggle around a bit and try and get my ship to angle. If you angle the 27mm armor correctly against someone that's not really sure what they're doing, you can bounce their shells and you will mitigate a lot of the damage. Now, you fire here, when they're coming around here like this broadside, you fire at the bow armor, right through that thinner armor. It's 32mm, but it can take a lot of damage, and if you hit anywhere along the plate, you want to aim upwards, just below the deck there. And that's, as you can see, that's what I'm doing, just above the deck. Just below the deck, sorry, above the armor citadel plating. And the life choices of any battleship that decides to come charging around the corner like that to a Des Moines have to be regretted. You just can't do that against a Des Moines. A Des Moines captain that knows what they're doing, you know, that's a little bit worth their salt, will absolutely wreck battleship captains coming around the corner. So what I want to do is make sure that there's a Baltimore there in B. I don't want to come out too far because I don't want to get hit. This is probably an ambitious shot to try and hit this Henri. They are quite quick and they are maneuverable. And the Des Moines has, even though she's got super heavy AP, it's not about keeping her flight trajectory low. It's still got the floaty trajectory, so if you do hit something from relatively far away, you'll get some heavy plunging damage and absolutely, as I said, wreck cruisers. Now, as you saw there, I just popped my radar. The Des Moines has 4 radars here with the premium consumables run and the superintendent. And a lot of people, I say it in every radar video that I do, that a lot of people will hold the radar until they can see what they're going, until they have line of sight, and it's really not effective as a team tool if you play it like that. Here, I wanted to know what was in B. I knew the Baltimore was coming up the middle, but by radaring him, I've made the Baltimore turn around. Our Yamato, who's coming behind me, would have been able to see him then, and that would have been able to give the Yamato the chance to take out the Baltimore. I couldn't get him, but I could always give vision to my teammates. And that's one thing you have to remember as any radar cruiser captain, that the radar is not just for you. Now radar is going to be altered, I guess you could say nerfed, in the next patch. Even though the Des Moines is going to get a 10-kilometer radar, the radar is going to change so that when you pop the radar, the first 6 seconds of the action time of the consumable, only you will see what you can see. Even though the ships will render on the minimap at the time that you pop the consumable, they will not become visible for another 6 seconds. So in a way it's going to be, you really need to teamwork it anyway, because I derp I think 3 salvos into the island here. Usually you can get good angles over the top of the islands with the Des Moines because of those really floaty shells and those high gun arcs. And as I was saying about the radar, you know, the 6 seconds will mean that you can see it but your teammates can't, but they will know that a ship is there because it'll render on the minimap, and that'll be really helpful so they can get ready to start firing at it. Now we have a second battleship here pushing the cap, unfortunately on his own, which yeah, this is another thing about people not really watching the minimap. This curve first is coming in on his own. I am being the anchor at the moment. Talk a lot about anchors. So I'm anchoring a position here. We have a curve first out on the one line out there who can help me out, plus we have a Yugamo in here, and whatever that curve first was going to do, he was going to die. He just overextended too much, and unfortunately for him goes down. Now I was just checking there behind the island because I had a Yamato. I could see him on the minimap coming behind me. Thankfully for me, my Yamato took him out. But you might have also noticed that our Des Moines died. If you have a look where he died, down there on the J line, you'll see that he was grossly out of position. Des Moines, if he had have been in the position that he should have been on the F7 there, he would have been able to crossfire both this Baltimore and the Moss for pushing in and lock down B. Now I've popped the radar again to give myself a bit more information. Remember, it doesn't only give myself information but the rest of my teammates. So now we know that the Baltimore is coming up. We knew he was pushing in before, but now we definitely know. Now he's firing armor piercing at me. We can't overmatch each other's bows. We both have 27mm of bow armor. It's not going to happen. But he's using AP to try and shatter my shell, my turrets. I have 203mm of armor along the front of my turrets, which can be, you know, wrecked quite easily. And he does end up damaging one of my turrets. Thankfully, it's not permanently destroyed. Well, I'm trying to use the HE, set fires on him, and then I decide, well, two can play that game, but I'm going to try and damage yours. And I'm just waiting for the curve first, just praying that he's going to get a good broadside on him. And eventually, as you've seen some shells splatter around, but the next salvo comes in, and there goes the Baltimore. And I hit the F12, I think the curve first, because that really helped me out a lot. It means I didn't have to come out too much further. The last thing you want to do is give too much broadside to anything, because you will be dead. But as I said as well at the beginning, this island here is the best Des Moines island on this map. If you spawn in the north, you're in Des Moines, this is the island you want to play at. And then one of the best things that can happen in a tier 10 game is Des Moines versus Moskva. And the Moskva gives you broadside. It is such a squishy ship, broadside. The Moskva, she's just got no chance to do anything if she gets caught like that. Unfortunately, she's more of a stationary anchor than even the Des Moines is. If you play the Des Moines, there are, as I said, a couple of my preferred way is to run the radar. If you want to play the strong female protagonist, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out Euro's video on YouTube. He loves to use the long range guns and the spotter planes. But for me, it just that takes away the team utility of the Des Moines and actually doesn't make her then the best tier 10 all-round cruiser. The radar gives you the opportunity to be more of a team player. Now I know it's a team game where not many people play for the team, but you should play for the team as much as you can anyway. And sometimes I say, you are the team. So if you're in a Des Moines and you've got all these tools, use the tools for the team. Now this shot, that shot was actually for the Conqueror, and I really badly misjudged how fast he was going. But the good thing about the Des Moines having these 5.2 seconds on the guns is I could recalibrate quite easily, find out where he was, and then my next shots get off, damage, and we finished with over 130,000 damage for the game, which is pretty good. Unfortunately I didn't get the Confederate, otherwise I could have shown you Housy's party tricks. So let's take a look at the best cruiser in the game. We run all premium consumables, and then we go with our upgrades. We're going to run main armaments mod 1 because, as I said, those turrets can get damaged quite easily. You also want to be able to protect anything else on your ship that you have module wise. We're going to run the surveillance radar for that extended radar. If you don't have that, then the damage control system is quite good because you do get caught stationary a lot. You will get spammed with fires. Aiming systems mod 1 for a bit more accuracy. If you are worried about CVs, then the AA guns mod 1 is viable as well. I just prefer the aiming mods for that better accuracy. Propulsion mod, because you do island hug a lot, so you're going to be sitting stationary, so you want to move as fast as you can forwards and backwards. Concealment, because it's concealment, you don't want to get spotted, you want to get that down as quick as you can, and you only get the 10.9 now anyway. Although if you want to, the target acquisition is very good as well. Now I run the gunfire control system for that little bit extra range, gets out to 8.6 kilometers. The main battery 3, AA guns 2, and the enhanced propulsion legendary module are all viable as well. It's just going to depend now on your gameplay. The secondary battery mod I wouldn't even bother with. Now I will try out the legendary module later on, and I'll put a video up of it, and it'll be see how it goes. Now, priority target for our captain skill is always our first skill. We want to know how many people are aiming at us, how many could be firing at us. Expert marksman to turn those turrets around a little bit faster, especially if you run the reload module. Now Housy is really good for this ship because of that. Superintendent, we want extra heals, extra hydros, extra radars, extra defensive AAs, and then for me the concealment module, and probably the concealment module even if you're not running the concealment build, because there's not much more that I would run, possibly the RPF. Then we're going to run expert loader, because you can get that gun swapped down to 1 second, 1.1 seconds. The jack of all trades, adrenaline rush, and then the AFT for a little bit more versatility with our anti-air. As you know, it is currently flooded with CVs in World of Warships, so if we do that, it's a bit of a hybrid build. You've got the rapid firing guns, so you've always got the right ammunition ready. You've got your turrets getting ready to turn fast. You've got your superintendent for more consumables. Then you've got your jack of all trades to make sure that those consumables come back and reload nice and quickly. So really good ship, as I said. The best all-round tier 10 cruiser because of her versatility, and it's just like a Swiss Army knife of cruisers. She can do almost everything, and that's what's really good about her. Anyway guys, that's my Des Moines commentary. Hope you get something out of it. Thanks for joining me, and stay safe out there.